What's going on, people? I know it's been a minute since I made a video, but here we go. So I had somebody send me a message telling me to check out this video because they had mixed feelings about it. And it's the video involving Tariq Nasheed and Tucker Carlson from Fox News. And they were like, Macadon, do you think Tariq Nasheed lost this debate? I'm kind of conflicted because I'm hearing both sides. I'm hearing both sides saying, Tariq's side are saying, yo, he crushed Tucker, he obliterated him. And then Tucker's side is saying, oh my gosh, Tariq, he didn't know what he was talking about. Tucker, you made him look stupid. And so the person was like, he's like, I'm kind of conflicted because I feel like Tariq didn't lose, but I felt he didn't elaborate on certain things that he should have. And so he wanted me to check out this video and see, and wanted my take on it. So this would be my take on the video itself. Like I said, I'll listen to it as you guys have listened to it. I'm sure some of you have already listened to the video, but I'm gonna listen to bits. I'm gonna pause and give my take once I feel like one side may have won or one side didn't, or it just wasn't any side to have won. But I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I like Tariq Nasheed. I'm definitely a fan of the Hidden Colors documentary because definitely have some of my favorite people in there, from the Killer Mikes, Paul Mooney, to Nas, David Banner, Phil Valentine, Shahrazad Ali, and Tariq himself, when they go to talk about the history involving black people. I'm like, I'm barely feeling it. It was like Hidden Colors 2 is when I started learning more about the Hidden Colors documentaries. And so, hey, I went out and I purchased 1, 3, and 4, So, I'm definitely a huge fan of the Hidden Colors series. But as far as Tariq Nasheed is concerned, that's about all I know of him. I know he has a podcast. I haven't really heard his podcast that much because there's other podcasts I like to listen to. But he's definitely big. He's definitely making a name for himself. He's definitely waking people up as far as social, racial issues. So I definitely give a thumbs up to that. And I'm glad he's definitely pushing forward. And he's definitely opened up the minds of others to look into such things. So that is where I stand when it comes to Tariq Nasheed. I'm not a huge follower of his, so I don't really follow him as much. But when it comes to certain stuff like this, where it's put on a national scale, especially when it's on Fox News, that's why I kind of raise my antennas and be like, okay, let's see what's going on with this. So, the person sent me the email, asked me to check out this video, get ready to check it out, and get ready to give my take on it. So, let's see how it played out. Here we go. Alright, so I had to switch it over because the feedback was terrible. I switched over to my laptop to play the video. So here we go, guys. Let's check it out.
Would have been if it weren't for the fast response of an Ohio State University police officer pictured there on the screen. He shot the killer dead within minutes. That officer is being praised tonight as a hero, of course, but not everyone on the activist left is impressed by what he did. Some have imputed racial motives to the shooting. Among those is radio show host and author Tariq Nasheed. He tweeted this yesterday. So white officer Alan Harukjo shot and killed the black Somali stabbing suspect in Ohio and is being paraded as a hero. That's interesting. Well, Tariq joins us now to explain. Tariq, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tucker.
Oh, of course. This struck me when I read it as a pretty cowardly thing for you to say for a bunch of reasons, but mostly because it's so imprecise. Okay. You don't spell out what you mean. You say that that's interesting. Why is that interesting? Would it have been better if this guy, the murderer, had continued to hack people with a butcher knife? Is that what you're saying? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying, Tucker, what's cowardly is to make up a false narrative that I didn't say or even imply by saying that I was not impressed or I was dissatisfied with the police's work. And basically, that tweet was very vague. It was very neutral. It was basically a statement. It wasn't even my opinion. So for you to start off the segment saying that it was cowardly, that's disingenuous.
Tariq, to explain yourself, and I'm asking you, what did you mean by that? Is the guy,
and I'll
the
be
police
glad to do
officer
that.
who shot this guy, a hero, or isn't he?
Okay. So Tucker knows exactly what Tariq is saying, but as an interviewer, you got to let the guests speak to see if they were going to hang themselves or give a perspective that makes you go, okay, yeah, I understand. I don't agree with it, but I get it. So Tucker calls Tariq's tweet cowardly. First off, if you notice, Fox News pundits always have like little snide remarks to make towards anyone who they think has a liberal outlook. First off, I don't see Tariq's post as cowardly. He's basically just pointing out a situation where he deemed as interesting. It's interesting to Tariq when it comes to the officer being white killing the black Somalian. And from my understanding, he finds it interesting because we haven't seen a situation where an officer who happens to be black killed someone who's labeled as a terrorist or an active shooter. Can we sit here and argue that if a black officer whom we don't know their political or religious background is, if a black officer were to be labeled as a hero by conservative media, if he shot down, say, a James Holmes, the movie theater shooter, or Dylan Roof, the church shooter, will we see the same celebratory action from the right-wing media if the officer was black? I think that's what Tariq, and this is just my assumption, but I think that's what Tariq, and I'm sure he can elaborate on it himself, but I feel like that's what Tariq was mentioning when he says it's interesting that people are so, yay, good for the officer because he's white and the guy was black that was doing all the stabbing. But would it be interesting to see if this was a black officer shooting someone who's a James Holmes or Dylan Roof? Will we see the same celebratory celebration from the right-wing media? Think about that. And that little exchange, Tariq shouldn't even responded to the coward comment. Like I said before, that's what the pundits on Fox News do, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this. They always make little snide, snippy remarks when they ever question the guest who they see as liberal. And Tariq shouldn't have entertained that and just respond with why he believed the situation was deemed interesting. Simple as that. But I do give props for calling Tucker out that he doesn't want to go into false narratives. That was a very cowardly post. Like that was very pointless to say because the motive behind Tariq posting that it wasn't cowardly. It was just an interesting perspective. It's very interesting that people are so gung-ho or are in celebration that he's a hero, but would they have the same actions if, say, a Sheriff Clark, regardless of what his political background is, would they have championed a Sheriff Clark if he shot down the Dylan Roof? That's just something to think about. All right, let's continue.
I'll be glad to answer that, but I don't want to do the false narrative thing because that's just very disingenuous, and I like to bring truth
just
to
answer
power.
the question.
Now, let me explain what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I didn't think that the guy was wrong for what he did. The guy was a hero. The comment wasn't meant to racialize the actual shooting in the event itself. When that happened, online, there were a lot of people who played the race card, and the minute they found out who the suspect was, they kept talking about black Somalian, then they started talking about Black Lives Matter, then they started talking about Obama, then they racialized it. So,
yeah, okay.
I'm
sorry.
Okay.
There's only so much I can take. I spent all afternoon listening.
Okay, all right. So basically, Tariq answered this question. Tariq acknowledged what the officer did wasn't wrong, and he did say that the cop was a hero. Tariq tweet was based off what I'm hearing in this clip. In this clip was due to tweets that he saw where other Twitter users were racializing this unfortunate event. You know, and the question for these Twitter users is that I have, if this is true that this is what Tariq was saying, then when it comes to this black Somalian, then my question is, why are the tweets involving Black Lives Matter and President Obama? Did the guy vote for Obama back in 2008, 2012? Was he a member of Black Lives Matter? Why were the tweets that Tariq saw equate President Obama and Black Lives Matter with the guy that was going around stabbing people with knives? Why did they make it about race? All right, let's continue, man.
Listening to your podcast, which is the most racialized thing I think I've ever listened to in my life. And not
Which is not true. Which is not true.
Let me say this. You sent a series.
Yeah, and it's not true because he talk about more than just talk about, white supremacy, right? He has other videos talking about like relationships, so it's not all based on just race stuff.
Piece of tweets here noting the race and the nationality of the terrorist, and you also put quotes around the word terrorist. If you drive your car through a crowd of people and murder someone with a knife, are you not a terrorist? Why did you put quotes around?
I didn't say that the man. I didn't say that the man wasn't a terrorist. Tucker, are you going to say anything honest before we get the interview started, or it's just going to be a bunch of projections
I'm asking you what you meant. Why did you put
suspected white supremacist
around the word
views?
terrorist? Okay.
Because I didn't know if the guy was a terrorist or not. I didn't know if he was a suspect. I didn't know if that was the only suspect. So I didn't have all the facts. I wanted to wait for all the facts to come in.
So you're in trouble drawing simple conclusions.
Which is what you should do.
Okay.
Okay. He didn't have all the facts. That's the same statement we heard when it came to Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. We don't have all the facts. It's the same we heard with Mike Brown, Darren Wilson. We don't have all the facts. It's the same 6-word statement we hear from the right-wing media whenever it comes to these police officers shooting black civilians. We don't have all the evidence. We don't have all the facts. Wait till all the evidence come in before you just automatically assume that this officer is racist. And in this particular situation, Tariq said we didn't have all the facts. Which is why Tariq put quotes around the word terrorist, because he was quoting what was said about the guy doing the stabbing. The right-wing media labeled him a terrorist, which is pretty funny because how come the same right-wing media, how come the same Tucker Carlson, why hasn't he labeled Dylan Roof a terrorist? Basically what Tariq did was he took what the media said, because the definition of quotes, hold on. Let's look up the word quote. Let's see what the word quote. The definition of quote is, because he put quotations around the word terrorist. Quote is a repeat or copy out a group of words from a text or speech, typically with an indication that one is not the original author or speaker. Okay, so as Tariq said, if you don't have all the facts and going by what is said in the media, why would you put quotes around the word terrorist? Again, going back to Dylan Roof. Tucker, are there any tweets or are there any articles that you wrote out or posted where you called Dylan Roof a terrorist? Did you put quotes around terrorist when you were referring to Dylan Roof? Because based off that little example about, how this guy had a knife and was running over people, that's considered a terrorist. But what Dylan Roof did was way worse. So why hasn't the right-wing media labeled him a terrorist the way that they did this black Samoan guy?
If someone drives his car through a crowd of people, here's what we knew from the first moment this happened. A guy drove his car through a crowd of people, intentionally hitting them, and then he attacked one of them with a knife. What else do you need to know in order to conclude that man is committing an act of terrorism? What's the missing piece there for you?
We didn't get all the facts initially because initially they said that there were other suspects. So I didn't have all the facts in. So I wasn't in the position to label anybody or bring my opinion to the table. I wanted to wait to see what all the facts were before I labeled people. And that's what you should do,
No, you didn't. What you were trying to do is incite race hatred, which is what you do for a living, making this about race from the very start, when in fact race played no role. Now you...
All right, Tucker, that's exactly what Tariq did. The same way the people over at Fox News make claims, we don't have all the facts when it comes to Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown shooting. Wait for all the facts to come in. But then you question Tariq when he is doing the exact same thing that the Fox News pundits do when it comes to accusations made by black people whenever police shooting is involved. So far in this video that I'm listening to, or we're listening to, I'm seeing zero evidence that Tucker crushed Tariq. You know, I mean, let's recap what we've heard so far in this clip. All right, first Tucker says that Tariq's tweet was cowardly. Tariq called out Tucker saying that he's not going to go into false narratives because it's not a cowardly tweet. He was just stating the obvious. And he said it's very interesting that people are parading or congratulating this white officer for shooting a black Somalian. It would be very interesting if they had those same celebratory actions if that was a black officer, like someone like a Sheriff Clark, shooting down someone like a Dylan Roof. Will we see the same celebratory actions from the right-wing media? Yeah, it would be very interesting if a situation like that happens. Will we see the same actions? What else was talked about? Oh yeah, Tariq acknowledged that what the officer did because Tucker asked him, and Tariq did respond saying that what the officer did wasn't wrong. He did say that the cop was a hero for doing what he did. And Tariq was saying that the reason why he posted that tweet was based off other Twitter users, you know, comparing the black Somalian or equating the black Somalian with Black Lives Matter and President Obama. And my question is, why do that? Did he vote for President Obama? Was he a member of the Black Lives Matter movement? So if this has absolutely nothing to do with race, why bring up something that is race related? President Obama, Black Lives Matter. The right-wing media have always done that. Whenever something goes wrong in the black community, they always bring up Black Lives Matter. And for some reason, they bring up President Obama. It's like, what does those two situations have anything to do with this situation over here? What else? Oh, and Tariq was saying that he put quotes around the word terrorist is because we didn't have all the facts. It was the right-wing media who called this black Somalian a terrorist when there was zero information about who this guy was at the time that people were accusing him of being a terrorist. Just like the right-wing media. They're always telling black folks whenever there's police officers shooting black civilians, wait till all the evidence come out. Wait till all the evidence come out with Darren Wilson and George Zimmerman. Don't just automatically assume that these guys are racist in uniforms shooting down black people because they hate black people. Wait till all the evidence. Wait till all the facts come out. And Tariq is doing the same thing with this situation. He's like, we don't have all the facts. That's why I put the word terrorist in quotations, because we don't have all the facts that this black Somalian was indeed a terrorist. The right-wing media jumped the gun on that. So, like I said, so far I'm seeing zero evidence that Tucker is crushing Tariq. But I do see why people would come to that conclusion, because they feel like, him stuttering, which is not really stuttering. I mean, these guys are not in the same room. So, it's like on the phone when you're over talking somebody. You kind of have to repeat yourself. So, yeah, I mean, people have their opinions. But like I said, so far when I'm listening to in this clip, I'm not seeing that whatsoever.
Now, you make the claim repeatedly in your writings and on your show, this is a, quote, white supremacist country. The guy who did this was imported here at taxpayer expense from Somalia. He was living, I believe, entirely on taxpayer expense. It was government-subsidized education in Ohio State. Why would a white supremacist country import Africans in large numbers and then pay for them to live here? I don't understand. It doesn't speak in narratives. It doesn't really fit your narrative, does it?
So we don't live in a system of complete white supremacy? Everybody's lying, Tucker?
Huh. So the overwhelming majority of immigrants to this country are non-white. Why?
Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay. All right, Tariq, you shouldn't have answered his question with a question because Tucker is the interviewer. He's not obligated to answer questions. I mean, it's a 1-hour program. If the host were going to answer the guest questions, you would need more than an hour as well as no commercial interruptions. So Tariq shouldn't have responded that way. He should have responded with why he feels the narrative that Tucker spewed, that, white supremacy doesn't exist because we have a system that allows African Americans into this country. Tariq should have responded with why he feels white supremacy exists even when this country allow Africans in this country. Yeah, he kind of dropped the ball on that. I mean, Tariq actually did respond, but it shouldn't have been in question form. He should have been like, yeah, white supremacy does exist even with Africans being deported into this country, and here's why, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He should have did that, but he didn't in that one. He kind of dropped the ball a little on that part.
Why would a white supremacist country import massive numbers of non-white immigrants? Not to blow your mind,
when you say non-white,
Tariq,
I mean, there's Hispanic people who you say are non-white, but they're labeled as white. There are a lot of people who are classified as white that you say are non-white. So you play this racialized game. So who's non-white and who's white?
Okay. I guess the point
Okay. Tucker's so stupid. Tucker said, yeah, okay, all right. Tariq, my man, again, you shouldn't have, you shouldn't have responded that way. And Tucker's response, earlier, Tucker was like, that response that Tucker gave was warranted because Tariq didn't really elaborate on Tucker's question. He didn't really continue on after he said that, so there aren't any white supremacists in this country. There isn't white supremacy here. She should have stated why there is white supremacy, even with Africans being imported into this country, as Tucker claimed. And then, oh my gosh, and then when Tucker said non-white, Tariq, man, you didn't answer the question still. He just harped on Tucker saying non-white. No, Tariq, no. Tariq should have explained to Tucker why he feel white supremacy exists, even when it's allowed Africans to be imported into America. Tariq, you didn't get it. You definitely didn't get a point with that. I'm sorry. In my book, you did not get a point. You didn't crush Tucker on that, and Tucker didn't crush Tariq on that either. Like I said, I'm being objective here when it comes to this video. I'm neither on either. I'm not Team Tucker. I'm not Team Tariq. I'm just listening to this video and I'm just giving my opinion on it. And so far, like I said, Tucker's not crushing Tariq. Tariq is not crushing Tucker. But I will say that Tariq should have explained to Tucker why white supremacy exists, even when its system let Africans be imported into this country. And in my assumption, that's why Tucker was giggling when Tariq was talking about, the non-white statement. And in Tucker's eyes, he felt like he stumped Tariq. And I don't know if Tariq didn't have a response, but it really did seem like Tariq didn't have a response to the question because he definitely didn't answer it fully. Tariq was more hung up on, in my opinion, I feel like that little exchange right there, Tariq was more hung up on, or just showing the people who were watching this video, he was more hung up on the denial that Tucker had that white supremacy doesn't exist. He was saying it's not the 1950s, it's 2016, Africans are allowed into this country, so racism doesn't exist. And I think Tariq was more hung up on the idea that he didn't feel that white supremacy didn't exist. Like I said, Tariq did drop the ball on that. A little.
Making is that it's not 1955. It's a totally different country from the one you seem to be addressing on Twitter and in your podcast. Then answer this.
How is it different, sir?
In your tweet, it's different in this way. It is an entirely multi-ethnic country. It's not just black people and white people, one oppressing the other. It's a much more complicated landscape, as you may have noticed if you go outside. And so when you tweet out that this is a story of a white man killing a black man, that is misleading. That's not at all what happened. There was no racial motive that we know of here, and you're implying there was. I
didn't say there was a racial motive. Because it serves your
financial... Well, of course you did. You said the white officer shot a black Somali suspect.
Tucker, this is Fox News. You guys are the race casino. Forget about the race card. You play the race casino. So it's very hypocritical for me to specify the race of a suspect and a police officer, and that is supposed to be some kind of problem when you guys do it all the time and arbitrarily blame black people for everything negative in this country.
That's true. That is true. Can't deny that one bit. I really don't have to elaborate too much, but whenever black people complain about anything, Fox News is always in disagreement when it comes to black issues. That is true, but Tariq definitely kind of got off the road a little bit, but he kind of brought it back in just a little. But Tariq's on Fox News. Both Tucker and Tariq are definitely trying to get their little snide little remarks in about each other. Or, Tucker about Tariq's podcast, Tariq about Tucker's Fox News network. So it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, come on, guys. Let's get back on the road here. Come on.
I'm not even going to rise to the bait. Let me just say that I think when normal people, and I'm excluding you from that category, watched what happened yesterday, they didn't...
Again, typical Fox News pundits, man. They love to make them little snide remarks. Normal people, I'm excluding you from that category, Tariq. Okay, I'll take that. Oh, my gosh. Oh, boy. Basically, just like I said before, the little snide little remarks back and forth between Tucker and Tariq. It's just basically just, what Tucker said about Tariq, not being normal. He's not normal people. It's just an opinion. Just as Tariq called Tucker a white supremacist. Tariq called Tucker a white supremacist. Tucker calling Tariq he's not normal. Tariq talking about, his Fox News network, how they are biased towards black people. And, Tucker firing back at Tariq saying his podcast is so racialized, it's ridiculous. I can't hear it. So, the conversation is kind of like back and forth. It's like watching a tennis match.
See the race of the terrorist or the race of the cop. They saw an American stopping a lunatic from murdering more people on a college campus.
So why did your white supremacist colleagues make it racial? So why did they make it racial? Why did so many people in the right? How did they make it racial?
I don't know one person on any network who looked at this and said, here you have a white man killing a black man. They said, here you have a police officer, representative of order,
black
stopping a mass murder from continuing.
So was it Black Lives Matter fault? You guys always seem to blame Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter is any black person you choose to make Black Lives Matter. So
right, okay. I'm missing the thread of your argument, but I think you've made your
you're not
point.
missing it.
Yeah.
All right, so in that conversation, it's more of who's telling the truth. Tucker feels his colleagues on the right didn't say what Tariq claimed. And Tariq is saying, yes, they did say it. And at this point, it's like, can anyone pull up Fox News pundits making this particular situation about race? Or was it based on the cop was being a hero by taking out someone who was making trouble? That's the real answer.
You got it. You're a smart guy. Suspected white supremacists are very smart, so you got it.
Right. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Well.
Okay, so that's it. But yeah. Just listening to the exchange, like I said, it's not really who humiliated or who obliterated one or the other. There were, you know, like I said, no one really won. It was just basically just a conversation. You know, like I said, it went from one to the other. But, Tariq did, majority of the questions that were asked of Tariq, he did answer them. He did say that the cop was a hero and what he did wasn't wrong in shooting the guy. Tariq did mention about, like I said before, about, people were racializing this by lumping the black Samoan with Black Lives Matter and President Obama. So in his eyes, it did seem like it was about race, because why do that? Tariq did say he didn't have all the evidence, which is why he put the word terrorist in quotation marks. What else? Tariq did get on Tucker about trying to paint a false narrative by saying what Tariq tweeted was cowardly. What else? Oh, I didn't like that Tariq didn't harp on Tucker when Tucker said that white supremacy doesn't exist because Africans are important in America, and Tariq should have elaborated on why it still exists. And what else? Yeah, that was really about the only thing that Tariq kind of got stumped on, got backed into a corner, so to speak, or he didn't have a response. But I think he didn't really respond in the way that he would because he was so hung up on the idea that Tucker had that white supremacy didn't exist because Africans are allowed into this country. And of course, the little back and forth between Tucker saying that Tariq's podcast is like too racialized and it's too ignorant to listen to. And Tariq was talking about how Fox News are so biased towards black people. They always have complaints whenever it involves anything that black people do. Tucker saying that Tariq's not a normal person. And Tariq's calling Tucker a white supremacist. So yeah, like neither side obliterated the other. It was just basically just a little nice dialogue back and forth. But of course, other people have their opinions. But to the person that sent me the email, no one really won. But it was kind of an interesting dialogue. It was an interesting dialogue just to see where both heads were at. But hey, it is what it is. It was fun to listen to. But that's all I got to say. Peace out.